Nama Shreshtam Manumapi Satchiputramatra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Uruparim Maturim Gostavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Jayam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Gosvāmī Maharaja Ki Jai. We're reading from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya-līlā, chapter 2, entitled The Ecstatic Manifestations of Lord Chaitanya. Of course, today is the appearance day of Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Śrīdhar Gosvāmī Maharaj. So, all around the world, devotees are celebrating this auspicious appearance day of what for many of us is our Param Gurudev, grandfather Guru. For you, Prabhu, it's your Gurudev. Oh, fortunate one. So for some, it's their Gurudev, for some it's their grandfather Guru, for some it's their great-grandfather Guru. Some maybe even now it's their great-grandfather. Great-great-grandfather Guru, maybe. Param Gurudev. So today, at lunchtime, we're going to take a deep dive into the glories of Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Śrīdhar Gosvāmī. That's going to be saved. We're going to save that for lunchtime today. It's the usual Saturday program with focused. It is the Saturday program, but the focus, of course, is the celebration of Śrīla Śrīdhar Maharaj's divine appearance. It's known as the Avirbhav Tithi. Avirbhav means appearance, to appear, and Tithi is the lunar day. So the lunar day on which Śrīla Śrīdhar Maharaj appeared, that's today. And at lunchtime, we're going to be celebrating the day and honoring Śrīla Śrīdhar Maharaj by recounting his glories. So we're going to reserve a chunk of time for that around lunchtime today. So everyone tune in for that. This morning we will continue with Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the final verses. Let's see if we can finish it today. I wanted to finish it yesterday because there's only a few verses, but I end up doing too much talking, not enough reading. So let's continue now from text 87. Yesterday we were reading how Kavirāja Gosvāmī is preserving the quality of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, saying that it's possible he has heard complaints voiced that there's too much Sanskrit, there's too much philosophy, there's too many slokas. It's not written for the common people, which personally I would say is not a valid argument. But anyway, so Kavirāja Gosvāmī says, well, I am simply describing the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with their, the biographical element, the Siddhantic element. I'm simply describing them accurately. So I'm chaste to the truth, and whether it pleases people or not, I cannot help that. Then he says there's no contradictory conclusion. I'm not sampling from here or there. I'm not borrowing from other people's perspectives. I'm not blending up ideologies. There's no what's called syncretism, blending of religious conceptions. I've written this book to describe the substance as I have heard it. So I'm being true to the account as it was relayed to me. If I become involved in likes and dislikes, I cannot possibly write the truth. So he says, if I get prejudiced in any way, if I develop biases. So he's saying the work is simply presented as it is, as I have heard it, without bias and without blending it up with other conceptions. Unmixed. Ananya. Text 87. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Madhya-līlā chapter 2, text 87. Yeva nahi bujhe keha sunite sunite seha ki adbhuta Caitanya-caritāmṛta Krishna upajibe priti janibe rasirariti sunile badahaya hita. If one does not understand in the beginning but continues to hear again and again, the wonderful effects of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes will bring love for Krishna. Gradually one will come to understand the loving affairs between Krishna and the gopis and other associates of Vrindavan. Everyone is advised to continue to hear over and over again in order to greatly benefit. You mentioned that verse yesterday. Now, it may seem a little bit of a contradiction. Yesterday we were talking about, I was mentioning how quality is always more important than quantity in the spiritual calculation, in the spiritual dimension, including in terms of how we conduct our sadhana. Quality always takes precedent over quantity. So then we have here Kavirāja, and I also connected it to this idea of Kavirāja Gosvāmī preserving the quality rather than reaching a quantity, trying to please a mass of people. He is preserving the quality, the truth of the teaching, even if it may only appeal to a smaller group of people. Still, the preservation of the quality is of utmost importance. So then we have the verse saying, if you can't understand it in the beginning, then read again and again and again and again. Keep on reading. That seems to be an advocation of quantity. Do lots of reading. Read it. But in no way, it is crucial to keep in mind that in no way is Kavirāja Gosvāmī dismissing the need for quality. Saying, yes, read it again and again. Read it with quality, read it with attention. This is a given. It's like taken for granted. Axiomatic. Needless to say, the quality is still necessary. But if you don't understand it, if you're unable to appreciate it the first time, then read it again. That's the first consideration. The second consideration is that your appreciation may deepen every time. As you practice sadhana, your ability to appreciate spiritual topics deepens and broadens. So each time you revisit the same shloka, for instance, then it is expected, it is healthy and expected that your appreciation of it will have evolved, will have deepened and changed. The spiritual substance is not dead like a in any way dry, mundane knowledge. It is able to reveal itself at deeper and deeper levels. And that revelation depends on our own capacity to receive. So, as a person develops spiritually, their capacity to receive the knowledge increases, and the shloka can reveal itself, the topic can reveal itself in ever-increasing light. Jai Prabhu, Jai Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, Jai Gauranga, Hare Krishna. The spiritual revelation can evolve. So each wave can bring fresh light, fresh inspiration. As the sadhaka themselves as the sadhaka themselves evolve, then so does their appreciation of the text. So it's a second way of looking at it, is that Kavirāja Gosvāmī is saying, keep on reading it. Don't read it once. Read it multiple times. And your appreciation, even if it's nil at first, will develop. And even if it's little at first, it will develop into greater depths of appreciation. There's a verse in Upadeshamrita by Rupa Goswami. It says, Tannama Rupa, it's not that one. Syat Kṛṣṇadāsa sitapya vidya pitopatapta rasanasya charochikanu kintvadarad anudinam kalusaiva jasta svadvikramad bhavati tad gadamulahantri. Syat Kṛṣṇadāsa sitapya vidya. Avidya means a person who doesn't have knowledge or awareness. They're in ignorance, avidya. So the material condition is characterized by avidya. There's an ignorance of the spiritual dimension. So Sat Kṛṣṇadāsa charitari sitapya vidya means that for a person who is ignorant of the spiritual dimension, the holy name, which is of the spiritual dimension, will not provide them with joy and happiness. There will be no taste for it. But through continued chanting, a taste will develop. And Rupa Goswami gives the example of a person suffering from liver disease, or jaundice is a liver disease, swollen liver. So the bile spills out from the overflows out of the bile ducts and goes into the blood and makes the skin, the yellow pigment turns the skin yellow. So this bile, traditionally it was treated using rock candy, maybe other herbs as well. Perhaps rock candy was the vahana, the vehicle, or perhaps it was the active medicine. But either way, for someone suffering from this jaundice, then the treatment of the rock candy itself would taste bitter. But with continued application of the rock candy medicine, its true taste would eventually return. The person's ability to taste the actual rock candy as it is, sweet, that would return. So Rupa Goswami gives this example with a person who is unable to appreciate the beauty and the nectar of the holy name. He says, just like the rock candy, the holy name is intrinsically sweet. That's its nature. But due to ignorance, due to avidya, then it tastes bitter. Due to the disease, says jaundice is the disease. So the avidya is the disease. The holy name tastes bitter. But with continued application of the medicine of the holy name, then its true nature will emerge eventually. And it will be tasted for what it is, very, very sweet. So in this regard, Kavirāja Gosvāmī is saying, the nectar of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, although you may not be able to appreciate it at first, with continued hearing, quality practice, continued shravan, quality shravan, then the true nectar of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and he even says, one will gradually come to understand the loving affairs between Krishna and the gopis and the other associates of Vrindavan. So all of these nectarian, highly esoteric, prem-saturated affairs of the real world, they can become known through continued, sincere practice, both in the domain of Shravan, as given here by Kavirāja Gosvāmī, and in the domain of Kirtan, as described in the verse we just quoted. Sat Kṛṣṇadāsa charitari sitapya vidya by Rupa Goswami. So, there we have it. Text 88. Bhagavat slokamaya tikatara samskritahaya tabu kaiche buje tribhuvana ihan shloka dui chari tadavyakya basakari kene na bujibe sarvajana. in reply to those critics who say that Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta is full of Sanskrit verses, it can be said that Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of Sanskrit verses, as are the commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. Nonetheless, Srimad Bhagavatam can be understood by everyone, as well as by people can be understood by everyone as well as by advanced devotees who study the Sanskrit commentaries. Why, then, will people not understand Caitanya-caritāmṛta? There are only a few Sanskrit verses, and these have been explained in the Bengali vernacular. What is the difficulty in understanding? Śrīla sutragana kailun kichu vivarana ihan vistarite chitahaya take yadi ayushesha vistariba lila shesha yadi mahaprabhura kripahaya. I have already given in codes all the facts and figures of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's last pastimes, and I have a desire to describe them elaborately. If I remain longer and am fortunate enough to receive the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I shall try to describe them again more elaborately, which of course he does in the Madhya-līlā. Ami briddha jaratura likite kanpaye kara mane kechu smarana nahaya na dekiye nayane na shuniye shravane tabu likhi e bada vishmaya. I have now become too old and disturbed by invalidity. While writing, my hands tremble. I cannot remember anything, nor can I see or hear properly. Still I write, and this is a great wonder. So he is here confessing that his faculties are greatly deteriorated. His hearing, his sight, his hands are trembling, shaking. His memory is debilitated, but still he's writing, and he's saying it's a great wonder. What is the word used there? Bada Vishmaya. Of course, it's chapter 8 of Madhya-līlā, and it is a chapter which discusses Kavirāja Gosvāmī's authorization and blessings. The authorization and blessings that he receives, specifically in relation to writing this Caitanya-caritāmṛta. First of all, we have Nityananda Prabhu, who sends him to Vrindavan in a dream. Says, all your fortune will be found there. And then in Vrindavan, he is requested by the collective of devotees. They are largely centered around the Radha Govinda temple, Rupa Goswami's Radha Govindadev temple. The devotees there who are taking care of the temple, it's described that they are the disciples and grand disciples of Gadādhara Paṇḍita Gosvāmī. Haridas Pandit and Ananta. I think it's Ananta Acharya. Primarily, those names are mentioned. Madhu Pandit is there. Anyway, these are the priest and the commander or the manager of the temple, Radha Govinda temple. And all the devotees there, they are gathering to hear the Chaitanya Bhagavat, which has been written already by this time. They want further nectar, so they ask Kavirāja Gosvāmī to write the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. So the devotees are requesting him to do this, and finally, of course, he's a little hesitant because writing, documenting, writing the writing on topics of Gauranga Mahaprabhu is not considered just a cheap, frivolous activity. It's not like writing a novel or a mundane biography. It's a very special and sacrosanct task. So he finally, even after being requested by the devotees, he goes to Madan Mohan. Now, Madan Mohan is the deities of Radha Madan Mohan, the deities of Sanatana Goswami. So he goes to the Radha Madan Mohan temple and he asks a request. He puts his petition there. Can I write the Caitanya-caritāmṛta? And the garland from the deity falls down, which is considered a very auspicious omen throughout history. If at a sensitive moment or a poignant moment, the garland of the deity falls down, it's considered a great endorsement, a great blessing, a big old auspicious green light in this regard. And he receives this inner communication which says, Madan Mohan tells him, I am writing this book through you. I'll write it through you. So even though he is blind, almost blind and deaf and trembling, memory's gone, still he says, I'm writing. So it's a great wonder. That's a way of saying that the divine Madan Mohan is writing this work, Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, through Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja Gosvāmī. Text 91. Madhya-līlā sara sutra madhye vistara kare kechu kare lun varnana iha madhye mariyabe varnite na paritabe lila bhakta gana dana. In this chapter, I have to some extent described the essence of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya at the end. If I die in the meantime and cannot describe them in detail, at least the devotees will have this transcendental treasure. This is what we were saying a few days ago. Say it every time we come across this chapter. He's putting it down just in case he cannot finish the work. He wants the crucial ecstasy, or the crucial topic of Mahaprabhu's Vipralamba ecstasies to be recorded. Text 92. Shankshepe e sutra kaila ye ihan na likila age taha kariba vistara yadi tata dinajiye Mahaprabhura kripahaye icha bari kariba vichara. In this chapter, I have briefly described the codes. Whatever I have not described, I shall describe extensively in the future. If, by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, I live for so many days that I can fulfill my desires, I will give full consideration to these pastimes. Chautabara Bhakta Gana Vandon Sabara Shri Charana Sabe Moda Karaha Santosha Svarupa Goshanira Mata Rupa Raghunata Janayata Tai Liki Nahi Moda Dosha. I worship herewith the lotus feet of all the devotees, both advanced and neophyte. I request all of them to be satisfied with me. I am faultless because I have written herein whatever I have understood from Swarup Damodar Goswami and Rupa Raghunath Das Goswamis. I have neither added nor subtracted from their version. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Advaitari Bhakta Brinda Śrīdhar Sabara Charana Swarupa Rupa Sanatana Raghunatera Shri Charana Duli Karan Mastake Bhusana. According to the Parampara system, I wish to take the dust from the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Swarup Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Gosvāmī, Raghunath Das Gosvāmī. I wish to take the dust of the lotus feet upon my head. In this way, I wish to be blessed by their mercy. Panayanra Agyadana, Brajera Vaishnavagana, Vandan Tanra Mukhya Haridasa, Caitanya Vilasa Sindhu, Kalolera Ekabindu, Tarakana Kahe Kṛṣṇadāsa. Receiving orders from the above authorities and the Vaishnavas of Vrindavan, especially from Haridas, the priest of Govindaji, I, Kṛṣṇadāsa, Kavirāja Gosvāmī, have tried to describe one small particle of one drop, of one wave of the ocean of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jai Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki Jai. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya-līlā, second chapter, describing the ecstatic manifestations of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Haridas Pandit is one of the disciples of Gadādhara Pandit. Haridas. Did I say that before? Did I say Chaitanya? So Chaitanya Das, Haridas. Haridas and Ananta Acharya. Maybe some other names. We can consult Adi-līlā, chapter 8, for the details. Okay, let's read a passage from Loving Search for the Lost Servant by Śrīla Bhakti Rakak Śrīdhar Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj. Śrīdhar Maharaj Avirāja Titi ki Jai. Okay, this subchapter is entitled 7 Days to Live. Sukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj that 7 days of longevity is enough to achieve perfection. He said, "You have only 7 days left to live. Do you think it is a short time? It is enough time. What is all important is the proper use of every second. What time we have in our hands is uncertain, but we must try our best to properly use every second. This must not be neglected. We should not think, the future is before me. Any time I like, I can engage in the profitable affair of spiritual life. Not 1 second should be lost." Longfellow wrote, "Trust no future, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury as dead. Act in the living present. Heart within, God overhead." The present is at our hand. We don't know about our future. We must try to use the time at hand to best advantage. And how will our time be best used? In the association of saints and scriptures. Purity is to be measured by the unit of sacrifice, and not sacrifice to any partial interest, but sacrifice to the whole. The absolute whole has been shown to us as the emporium of rasa, Akila Rasamrita Murti, the absolute good, the autocrat, the designer, the destiner of everything else, of everything we see. Our ideal of sacrifice should be so high that we can give up even the corresponding results of sacrifice. Self-abnegation or self-surrender is generally known as Atmanivedanam. However, Atmanikshepa is stronger. It's a stronger word for surrender. It means to throw oneself desperately towards the infinite. One must be desperate in self-sacrifice. In self-sacrifice, we must be very careful not to aspire for any greater or extended selfishness, but to surrender only to the center. Sacrifice is meant for the center, Krishna, the all-attractor. In realizing that position, we are concerned about 2 things: transcendental knowledge, sambandha, and the means for reaching the goal, abhideya. If we realize these correctly, then the fulfillment of the ultimate goal, prayojan, will come automatically. We shall be very conscious about the center to whom we are dedicating everything. The object of our fulfillment, sambandha, and the dedication or purity of purpose, abhideya. These 2 things are most important. This can be understood from the scriptures and the saints. And if we concern ourselves with the purest and highest sacrifice, the end will come of itself. We are not to bother for any remuneration. We have only to do our duty, and the remuneration will come. To whom we shall dedicate ourselves and what we shall receive, these things should be discussed throughout, meditated upon, and put into practice. In this way, we must try to live in the infinite. We must always stay engaged in the cultivation of infinite love and infinite beauty, as recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Rakha Śrīdhar Gosvāmī Maharaja Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Gosvāmī Maharaja Ki Jai. Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta Ki Jai. So we'll start chapter 3 tomorrow. This is when the Madhya-līlā, you could say, proper begins, because I think chapter 1 of Madhya-līlā is a summary of the whole Madhya-līlā, right? So you could say that's when it begins. But then chapter 2 kind of diverts, jumps ahead to the final pastimes of Mahaprabhu. And then chapter 3 is the Madhya-līlā, the biographical part of the Madhya-līlā begins again. So it's Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's stay at the house of Advaita Acharya. What's the context? Well, Mahaprabhu has just taken sannyas. And then he is wandering like a madman throughout this area known as Radhadesh in Bengal. And he's being kind of followed by Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda Datta, Jagarananda. And then they kind of trick him. They contacted Advaita Acharya, tell Advaita Acharya to come in a boat, because Mahaprabhu hasn't eaten for 3 days. He's been wandering around, not eating, not sleeping, in a rapture, ecstatic rapture, looking for Vrindavan. So they trick him, they tell him that the Ganga is the Yamuna. And anyway, he hops into a boat. Advaita Acharya comes in a boat. They realize that they have to kind of stabilize Mahaprabhu. And so they need to take him to a kind of a safe, comfortable place for him to stabilize, to eat, to regain his sort of normal senses. So they end up taking him to the house of Advaita Acharya, where he stays for 10 days. It's a very, very nice chapter. All the chapters are very nice, including this coming one. So we'll start on that tomorrow. And of course, all the devotees from Navadvip come down to meet him there, including Sachimata. Because this sannyas pastime was very dramatic and very sudden. He leaves in the middle of the night. Everyone's left, kind of distraught, shocked. Sudden, so they're shocked. So then everything gets to kind of be worked out over these 10 days or so at Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur. Sachimata is there and they feast and etc. And then it's decided that Mahaprabhu will reside in Jagannath Puri. It's not too close and not too far. Perfect place. Do you want to sing Hari Haraya Sachi Didi? No? You're busy? No? Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Gopal and Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Sri Caitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Gadādhara Śrīdhar Prabhu Gadādhara
Śrīla A.C. Bhakti-vedanta Swāmī Prabhu Gadādhara Paṇḍita Dāsa Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja ki jai. 6 Swāmis of Vrindavan ki jai. Sarvasvati Śrīnanda Prabhu ki jai. Sarvasvati Śrīman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Krishna ki jai. Śrīla Bhakti Namina Shai Srina Singade ki jai. Bhakti Prabhu ki jai. Tosi Mahamani ki jai. Tosi Parikama ki jai. Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. All the devotees all over the world ki jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nishma Gaura Premanandi. Gadādhara Paṇḍita